The 1967 Toyota 2000 GT is one of the most beautiful cars Japan ever produced. With its long sweeping hood, fastback roofline, and retractable headlights glinting under showroom lights, it looks like it rolled straight out of a European design studio in Turin. But the story behind this car is far stranger and more fascinating than most fans realize. Number 7. The 2000 GT was never supposed to be a Toyota. In the early 1960s, Yamaha was a company known for building motorcycles and musical instruments, but they had ambitions to break into the car business. Their engineers designed a sleek sports car prototype called the A550X and brought it to Nissan, hoping to land a partnership deal. Nissan took one look at the proposal and passed on it entirely. So Yamaha turned around and showed the same design to Toyota instead. Toyota saw exactly what Nissan had missed, approved the project almost immediately, and the rest is history. Meanwhile, Nissan went on to build the Datsun 240Z, which became legendary in its own right. But the car that started that whole conversation ended up wearing a Toyota badge. The gorgeous rosewood interior of the 2000 GT was built using skills from Yamaha's piano and guitar factory floor. The hand-turned steering wheel, the sculpted gearshift knob, and the sweeping instrument panel were all shaped by Yamaha's musical instrument craftsmen. These woodworkers developed special techniques to prevent the natural rosewood from splitting and cracking under the brutal heat of a Japanese summer. And the body panels on the hood and trunk lid were shaped using fiberglass reinforced plastic molding techniques that Yamaha originally perfected for building boat hulls. So the next time you look at a 2000 GT, just remember a piano company and a boat factory built that car. Number 5. Most people assume the 2000 GT was inspired by the Jaguar E-Type because the two cars look remarkably similar when parked side by side. But the real engineering inspiration was actually the tiny Lotus Elan. Toyota and Yamaha engineers openly admitted that the E-Type's monocoque chassis was far too advanced and expensive for them to replicate at the time. So instead, they borrowed the Elan's simpler backbone chassis design almost wholesale, along with its four-corner double wishbone suspension geometry. The only real changes were slightly thicker steel and some revised dimensions in a few key areas. The beautiful body lines that everyone compares to the Jaguar were actually hiding a Lotus skeleton underneath. Number 4. When the 2000 GT appeared in the 1967 James Bond film, You Only Live Twice, Sean Connery never actually drove it. At 6 feet 2 inches tall, he was simply too big to fit inside the low-slung coupe. His head literally stuck out above the roofline. Toyota's team scrambled and hand-built 2 custom open-top versions in just 2 weeks by chopping off the roof and fitting tonneau covers to simulate a convertible. They even lowered the body by about 25 millimeters to keep the proportions looking right on camera. In every single driving scene in the film, it was Bond girl Aki, played by Akiko Wakabayashi, who was actually behind the wheel. Even Daniel Craig later called the 2000 GT his all-time favorite Bond car. Number 3. Before Toyota ever put the 2000 GT on sale in showrooms, they needed to prove that this car could genuinely compete with European sports cars on raw performance. So in October of 1966, they took a lightweight, aluminum-bodied pre-production prototype to the newly built Yatabe Speed Circuit, a steep-banked 3.5-mile oval, and ran it hard for 72 straight hours. The car sustained speeds between 125 and 130 miles per hour the entire time, without a single mechanical failure. When it was finally over, the 2000 GT had shattered 3 world records and 13 international records in the 1500 to 2000 cubic centimeters engine class. If you are finding this interesting, hit subscribe. I cover classic car stories like this every week. Number 2. The legendary Carroll Shelby, the very same man who helped Ford dominate Le Mans with the GT40, got his hands on 3 Toyota 2000 GTs and built them into full racing machines for American competition. Shelby prepared those cars and entered a pair of them in the 1968 SCCA production car season, going head-to-head against Porsche 911s in the fiercely competitive C production class. The Toyotas performed surprisingly well against the Germans, but Toyota only funded one season of racing in America, and the Shelby 2000 GTs were quietly retired. One of those 3 Shelby cars would go on to make history decades later. Number 1. Today, the Toyota 2000 GT holds the record as the most expensive Japanese car ever sold at public auction. In March 2022 at Amelia Island, that Shelby prepared racing example, chassis number MF10-1001, the first 2000 GT to ever receive a serial number, crossed the block at Gooding & Company and sold for $2,535,000. It became the first Japanese car in history to break the $2 million barrier. To put that in perspective, Toyota originally sold the 2000 GT for about $7,150 back in 1968. Only 337 regular production units were ever built, each one hand-assembled by skilled craftsmen at Yamaha's Iwata factory, at a pace of just 8 cars per month. That scarcity helped make the 2000 GT extremely rare. The 2000 GT started life as a rejected prototype that Nissan did not want. It ended up becoming the single most valuable Japanese automobile on the planet, built by piano makers and boat builders who had never manufactured a car before. If that is not the greatest underdog story in automotive history, nothing is. If you enjoyed this, consider subscribing for more.